If your cat bites you for seemingly no reason, there's always a reason behind it. Sometimes it's actually a sign of affection and trust. Other times, it could be your cat's way of warning you that something is wrong, and that's just the beginning. From knocking objects off tables to licking you like family, some of your cat's strangest behaviors have hidden meanings that most owners completely miss. Today, you'll discover what these weird actions really mean and what your cat has been trying to tell you all along. Number 1, the bathroom shadow. You get up, walk to the bathroom, close the door, and there she is, paw reaching under the gap, meowing like you've abandoned her forever. Some owners find it sweet, others find it baffling. The explanation is part bond, part strategy. To your cat, you are a moving resource, a source of food, warmth, and safety, and losing track of you, even for a minute behind a strange door, registers as a small risk worth protesting. There's also routine at play. The bathroom is one of the few places you reliably stay still for a stretch, which makes it prime territory for attention or a quiet moment together. In many homes, a cat simply learns that the bathroom is where her human goes to be cornered and available. She's not being needy. She's keeping tabs on what matters to her. Keeping tabs on you is one instinct. But press your face to the window with her, and you'll hear a sound that seems to come from nowhere. A strange stuttering noise that science still hasn't fully cracked. The window chatter. She's perched on the windowsill, eyes locked on a bird outside, when her jaw starts to tremble and a rapid stuttering chatter escapes her. A sound she makes at almost no other time. It can be startling the first time you hear it. The leading explanation is a collision of frustration and instinct. Her predatory drive has fired up at the sight of prey she cannot reach, and the chattering may be the physical leak of that pent-up hunting energy. There's a more fascinating theory, too. Some researchers suspect she's mimicking the killing bite, the precise jaw motion cats use to dispatch prey, rehearsing the act on a target she'll never catch. Either way, that trembling jaw is a window into a hunter trapped behind glass, watching dinner fly away. Her hunting wiring shapes the dramatic moments, but it also shapes something cozier and far more famous. The reason an empty cardboard box can defeat the most expensive cat bed you've ever bought. The box obsession. Buy your cat a plush, heated bed, and she'll ignore it for the cardboard box it arrived in. The box wins almost every time. Part of it is security. An enclosed space with solid walls means nothing can sneak up from behind, letting her relax and survey the world from a fortress. Part of it is the ambush instinct. A box is the perfect hide for a predator waiting to pounce. But it runs deeper than real walls. A 2021 study found that cats will settle inside a square taped onto the floor, and even inside the mere illusion of a square that only suggests an outline exists. They don't need actual walls to feel the pull. The shape itself signals containment, and containment signals safety. The box isn't a quirk. It's her ancient need for shelter, satisfied by 4 simple edges. Boxes give her a fortress where she finally feels safe enough to drop her guard. But there's a far riskier way she shows you that same trust. And the moment you accept her invitation, it almost always ends in teeth. The belly trap. Your cat flops onto her back, stretches out, and exposes the soft fur of her belly. Every instinct tells you to reach down and rub it. And the second you do, she clamps onto your hand with all 4 paws and a set of teeth. You feel betrayed. You shouldn't. The belly is the most vulnerable part of a cat's body, guarding every vital organ underneath. When she rolls over and shows it to you, she is not requesting a belly rub. She's paying you an enormous compliment, revealing that she feels relaxed and unthreatened in your presence. The trap is that showing you that area and inviting you to touch it are 2 completely different things. She's telling you she feels safe, not handing you permission to poke the one spot her body is wired to protect. The belly is trust wrapped in a warning, easy to get wrong, but she also flies a far simpler signal, one she's used since she was a kitten greeting her mother, and it's standing tall in front of you every time she walks into the room. The upright tail. When your cat trots toward you with her tail held high and straight, sometimes with a little quiver at the very tip, you're witnessing one of the clearest happy signals in her entire vocabulary. Kittens greet their mothers this way, and cats carry the gesture into adulthood, saving that upright tail for the individuals they genuinely feel good about. It's a flag of friendly intent, a way of saying she's approaching in peace and pleased to see you. That quiver at the tip turns the volume up even higher. It's pure excitement, the feline version of someone breaking into a grin the moment you walk through the door. So the next time she comes to meet you with that tail standing tall, know that she isn't just walking over. She's actively telling you that you are someone she's glad to have around. Her tail tells you how she feels. But there's a gesture that goes one step further. Instead of just greeting you, she starts treating you like she'd treat another cat. Grooming you. Out of nowhere, your cat starts licking your hand or your hair, her sandpaper tongue dragging across your skin with surprising determination. It's tempting to assume she just likes the salt or the taste. The real meaning runs much deeper into cat society. Cats who trust and bond with one another engage in mutual grooming, licking the spots each one can't easily reach alone. It's an intimate behavior reserved for close companions, a way of strengthening ties and mingling scents until the whole group smells like one family. When she grooms you, she's folding you into that circle. She's treating you not as a giant, strange animal she happens to live with, but as one of her own, a trusted member of her tiny family who deserves the same care she'd give a cat she loves. Grooming is how she treats you like one of her own kind. But there's one thing she does that she'd never waste on another cat. A sound she invented for a single species, and that species is you. The meow made for you. Here's something that sounds impossible until you notice it yourself. Adult cats almost never meow at other cats. They hiss, they yowl, they chirp, but the classic meow is something they aim almost exclusively at us. Kittens meow to their mothers, then grow out of it with their own kind. With humans, they never stop, because it works. Over thousands of years of living alongside people, cats discovered that this one sound reliably gets a response. Food appears, doors open, attention follows. So they kept it, and many even refined it, developing specific meows for specific demands that they use only on their humans. When your cat meows at you, she isn't just making noise. She's using a tool she developed and aimed squarely at your species, because she figured out long ago that you would answer. She built a whole language just for us, which makes the next behavior all the more heartbreaking, because it's the one moment she goes silent and tries to disappear. When she hides. One day, your normally affectionate cat simply vanishes. You find her tucked into the back of a closet, under the bed, somewhere dark and hard to reach, and she wants nothing to do with you. It's easy to feel rejected, but this is the behavior that should concern you most. Cats are wired to hide pain and illness. In the wild, a visibly weak animal becomes a target. So over countless generations, they learned to mask suffering and retreat somewhere safe until they recover, or until they can't. This instinct is so strong that many cats stay stoic until they're seriously unwell, which is exactly why sudden, unexplained hiding can be a quiet emergency worth a vet's attention. When she disappears like this, she isn't pushing you away out of anger. She's obeying an ancient rule that says weakness must never be seen, even by the human she loves. When she feels vulnerable, she vanishes to the safest hidden corner she can find. But watch where she goes when she feels the exact opposite, completely, defenselessly safe. And you'll notice she keeps choosing the same surprising spot, night after night. Where she sleeps. At some point, she'll pad over while you're resting and settle directly onto your chest, your laptop, the warm pile of laundry you just folded, or the single piece of clothing that smells the most like you. It isn't random, and it isn't only about the heat. A sleeping cat is at her most defenseless, and where she chooses to do it tells you everything about who she trusts. By sleeping on you or wrapped in your scent, she surrounds herself with the smell of safety and lowers her guard in the one place she feels most protected in the entire world. Out of every spot in the house, every cozy corner, every sunlit windowsill, she keeps choosing the spot that is you. That's not a cat being lazy or getting in the way. That's a small, wary predator deciding night after night that you are home, And just when you feel like you finally learned to read her, she does something that flips everything you assumed about her most famous sound completely on its head. The purr myth. Everyone knows the purr means a happy cat. Except that's only half the story, and the other half catches almost every owner off guard. Cats certainly purr when they're content, curled up and blissful, but they also purr when they're frightened at the vet, when they're injured, and even when they're dying. The leading explanation is that purring is a self-soothing mechanism, a way for a cat to calm herself through stress or pain, much like a person humming quietly under their breath to steady their nerves. There's an even stranger theory. The low frequency of a purr falls within a range linked to tissue and bone repair, which means that rumble may actually help her body heal itself. So the purr isn't a simple smile. It's a complex tool she uses to comfort, to mend, and sometimes just to cope. So the purr alone never tells the whole story. In fact, she can be purring and blissful one second and clamping down on your hand the next. And that sudden switch isn't the betrayal it feels like. The petting bite. You're stroking your cat and everything is perfect. She's purring, leaning in, eyes half closed, and then, with no warning you can see, she whips around and bites your hand. It feels like a complete betrayal of the moment, but she actually did warn you. You just missed it. Many cats have a tolerance threshold for petting, and repeated strokes over a sensitive spot can tip from pleasant to overstimulating fast. In the seconds before the bite, her body usually fires off quiet signals. A twitching tail, a ripple of skin along her back, ears swiveling, a sudden stillness. The bite is her last resort after the subtler messages went unread. She isn't turning on you. She's telling you, in the bluntest language she has, that she's hit her limit. Once you learn to spot the early tells that betrayal stops feeling like betrayal at all, reading her limits is one kind of attention. Reading what she actually needs is another. And one of her pickiest demands hides in plain sight at her water bowl, the faucet over the bowl. She has a perfectly clean bowl of water sitting right there, and yet she'd rather drink from a dripping faucet, a glass on your nightstand, or a puddle in the sink. It looks fussy, even ungrateful. There are real instincts behind it. In the wild, water sitting beside a food source can spoil from the scraps nearby. So many cats are wired to drink away from where they eat, which is exactly where most of us park the bowl. Moving water also reads as fresher and safer than still water, which is why the faucet wins so often. And then there are her whiskers, which are intensely sensitive. A deep, narrow bowl that bends them with every sip can become genuinely unpleasant. A sensation sometimes called whisker fatigue. She isn't being dramatic. She's obeying rules about water that kept her ancestors alive. Some of her quirks are about survival like this. Others are simply about how a hunter's body is built to run, starting with how much of her day she spends doing absolutely nothing. Sleeping all day. If it feels like your cat sleeps through most of her life, that's because she nearly does. The average cat spends close to 2/3 of her day asleep or dozing, far more than we do. And it's easy to write that off as pure laziness. It's actually engineering. Cats are built as ambush hunters, capable of intense, explosive bursts of speed to chase and pin prey, and that kind of effort is metabolically expensive. To fund it, her body banks energy by resting whenever there's nothing worth chasing. Even in a safe home where dinner simply appears in a bowl, that ancient programming runs unchanged. She's also crepuscular, wired to be most active at dawn and dusk, which leaves the long middle of the hours, day for conserving fuel. She isn't wasting her life sleeping. She's a predator idling between hunts, keeping the tank full for action that, in your living room, may never actually come. She spends the long day idling in low power, banking fuel she rarely gets to spend. But one single event flips her switch in an instant. The sound of you stepping through the front door when she suddenly comes alive and pours herself around your legs. The leg weave. You walk in the door and your cat immediately winds between your legs in slow figure eights, pressing her body against your shins, sometimes nearly tripping you in the process. It's a greeting, but a layered one. Part of it is pure welcome, the feline version of running to the door to see you. Part of it is scent. By dragging her body and tail along your legs, she's leaving her smell on you and gathering yours in return, refreshing the shared scent that marks you as hers after time apart. And part of it, let's be honest, is strategy. She has learned that this is the exact moment you're most likely to head for the kitchen and fill her bowl. Affection, marking, and a gentle nudge about dinner, all braided into a single move. That weaving rub is her greeting you with her whole body, and it has a close cousin that appears the moment your hand finds the base of her tail. A pose that's equal parts polite greeting and pure undignified pleasure. Elevator butt. You scratch your cat near the base of her tail, and her rear end shoots straight up into the air, sometimes with her tail curled to one side and a look of pure concentration on her face. It's a little undignified, and plenty of owners have no idea what to make of it. The area right at the base of the tail is packed with nerve endings, which makes it one of the most rewarding places on her whole body to be scratched, so she lifts up to press into the sensation and chase more of it. There's a social layer too. Raising the rear is also how cats present themselves to each other in friendly greeting, so part of that pose is her treating you like a trusted member of her own kind. It's equal parts pleasure and politeness. She's enjoying the scratch and, in her own way, returning the courtesy. That's her body leaning into a sensation it craves. But her body chases stranger cravings, too. And the next one makes no sense at all for an animal built to live on meat. Eating grass. For an animal built to eat meat, your cat's sudden interest in chewing grass or nibbling your houseplants can seem bizarre. She's a hunter, not a grazer. So why the greenery? The honest answer is that science still isn't fully certain, but a few solid theories stand out. Roughage may help her physically by prompting her to bring up indigestible material like swallowed fur. At home, the hairballs she picks up while grooming. The fiber may also support digestion further along, and some believe plants offer trace nutrients her diet might miss. What matters most for you is safety. A number of common houseplants are toxic to cats, so if she's a chewer, it's worth checking what sits within her reach and offering safe cat grass as an outlet instead. Her instinct to nibble is perfectly normal. The danger lives only in what she happens to nibble on. That urge to test the world with her mouth softens into something gentler at the end of the day when she finally decides exactly how to settle against you. The tail wrap. When your cat settles beside you and slowly drapes her tail over your arm, your leg, or another cat she's close to, it can look like nothing more than where the tail happened to fall. It's rarely an accident. A tail laid deliberately across you is one of the softest signals of affection a cat owns. The nearest thing she has to reaching out and resting a hand on you. It says she's comfortable, connected, and content to stay exactly where she is, with you. Pair that with a body curled loosely rather than wound into a tight defensive ball, and you're looking at a cat who feels completely safe, relaxed enough to take up space and lean into your presence. After everything she does that puzzles us, this may be the simplest message of all. With one quiet gesture, she's telling you that out of every place she could be and every creature she could choose, she has chosen to be close to you. That tail is affection at its gentlest. But there's one final way she shows that same closeness. And this one arrives wearing teeth, which is exactly why it fools nearly everyone. The love bite. Sometimes, right in the middle of a calm, affectionate moment, your cat takes your hand or your finger into her mouth and bites down. But softly, slowly, with no real pressure behind it. Never coming close to breaking the skin. It's nothing like the sharp warning nip of an overstimulated cat. This is a love bite, and it's one of the most misread gestures she makes. Among cats, gentle nibbling is woven into how close companions groom and bond with one another. A soft mouthing that signals trust instead of threat. When she does it to you, she's pulling you into that same intimacy, treating your hand the way she'd treat a cat she feels completely safe beside. Sometimes it carries a quiet message too. A gentle nudge that she's had enough petting, or simply that she wants your attention this very second. The secret is in the pressure. A bite that never hurts was never meant to. It's affection wearing the disguise of teeth. Now here's what I want you to do. Go back through everything your cat does. The slow blinks, the turned back, the gift on the pillow, the 3 a.m. zoomies. And count how many of these behaviors you've actually caught her doing with your own eyes. Then drop that one number in the comments. Just the number, nothing else. If your cat does nearly all of them, the two of you are far closer than you ever realized, and something tells me a lot of you are about to surprise yourselves. I'll be reading every single number that comes in.